Hello and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Gracia, and I have got a really fun show tonight. I have a guest. He's a writer, he's an artist, he's a publisher. He does it all. He's got a great comic up on Kickstarter, which is just gorgeous art wise, story wise. I think everyone needs to know about it. So let's bring on Randy Stone. Hello, Randy.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. How about yourself?
I can't complain. It's going to be a fun night, I think. Um, and before we begin, I just want to put up Randy's social media. So I'm going to screw up the name of your company, and I apologize. I'm bad with that. Can you just let everyone know how to say it properly?
Altruist Comics?
Altruist Comics. So on Facebook, Altruist Comics, on Twitter, Altruist Comics, and also Randy Stone, COTW. So you guys can check them out over there. So number one, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, of course.
I was looking forward to talking to you, especially after I got a glimpse of the comic. It's just fantastic. Um, so before we begin and get into talking about this, showing your Kickstarter, um, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into comics, when did you get into it, kind of the stuff you read that influenced you or watched or whatever it is?
Yeah, so 30 years ago, I picked up some Marvel Universe trading cards, and
Mhm,
that's what did it. All those characters that I didn't really know much about, aside from probably Spider-Man from watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
mhm.
Just seeing all these cool concepts, characters, costume designs, everything. That's when I fell in love, and I was hooked on comics from there. I kind of grew up reading X-Men. That was my
Mhm.
mainstay. Introduced to the Jim Lee stuff. That was the era of X-Men for me. And then branching off into more mature things with Vertigo and stuff as I went through high school and
Yeah,
indie stuff now, whatever. Yeah, a bit of everything.
that's great. Do you remember? Um, Now you mentioned Jim Lee's X Men was the kind of the era you go, so that was more '90s for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, what who were some of your like influences? Because you do a lot of writing. Were there any comic writers that like really influenced how you write?
I don't know as far as technique and whatnot. I've enjoyed people like Brian K. Vaughan. I was big into him for a lot of the work that he's done.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I think growing up, I followed more artists.
among
That was
artists.
always the appeal to me when I was first reading.
Hmm.
And then I don't know if I latched on to anybody in particular, like maybe Garth Ennis in high school. That was just Preacher was coming out and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, little bits and pieces, but I don't know if anything shows up in my actual work or not.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, just always curious. I love to hear about how artists, writers get inspired, what got them into the industry. It's just for me, it's fun because there's always such an overlap with kind of what got me into it or got other people, and there's always just this nice common thread. I love to hear about it. And sometimes I've talked to people who are like, yeah, I just read a comic like last year, I got inspired, I started
Yeah.
and made my own. um so when did you start getting into like the industry, making your own comics or working on other companies comics?
Yeah, so maybe 15, 16 years ago, I was trying to break in as an inker.
Mhm.
I went to school for art, and that was originally my idea is to get in drawing comics. Inking was the path I quite enjoyed the most, just putting those lines down. And
Mhm.
obviously, not having to deal with a blank page was nice. And the collaborative nature of inking, because you can play off of the pencils that are there. So I
Yeah.
was trying to break in, going to conventions, showing my portfolio.
Mhm.
My first book that I did for Arcana was Champion. I actually
Mhm.
wrote that book as an excuse to ink something. I hired a penciler, a couple actually worked on that book, two different pencilers, and I inked it. And I was pitching that around, and that was my first published book.
Oh,
So really, the first script that I wrote was published and got me in.
nice. And
Um,
and what year around was that for you? You said like
it
15?
came out, I think, 11, maybe 12 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah, so just over a decade ago.
Mhm.
Around the same time, I actually did write the first script for Bullet, which gets put on hold for a decade, and then we came back to it. But yeah, that was my last kind of attempt at breaking into comics. It didn't go well as far as finances, of course. indie comics. This is a small press publisher. Didn't make much. Spent a lot more on it, hiring the pencilers and stuff. So that was my last effort to break into comics before settling down with a real job, so I could have kids. So I did that. Had a couple sons, and then slowly got pulled back into it with short story writing. Just over a couple years, maybe 4 years ago, I started putting them together, hiring artists, and those got collected into Death in Comics, which was my first self-published work.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just pulling me back. I had to make comics. It's something that always was on my mind. As much as I put that aside as not a realistic career, it's something I always still wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting there. A couple more projects under my belt. Eskimo Kisses from Scout, that was put out almost 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then Crime Pays anthology I published. It was a whole bunch of short stories by various people. And then my last book, The Sensational Swan, was a Kickstarter. Those three were all Kickstarted projects. So Bullet's my fourth.
So Bullet's your fourth. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to comment on someone who's been, messaging in the commenting in the comments. It's not about the show tonight, but he's asked me when I'm going to have a certain artist on, and I don't know. I've never been in contact with the artist, but just to let you know, if you can get him to contact me, or you want to contact me in his place for it, just send me an email, send me a message through YouTube, and I'll be happy to reach out. All right. I am booked up though for a while, but I'll be happy to talk to anybody. I love talking art and comics and animation. So, okay, so you did some work for the other companies. You started getting your own stuff. And Bullet, you said you started your first draft how many years ago?
Yeah, it was probably a dozen years ago now.
Wow.
So that got set aside. We were trying to pitch it around. I had an artist and colorist involved. It unfortunately didn't go anywhere, and they went on to bigger, better things, image work, Marvel. But yeah, Bullet just kind of stalled out there. And then it sat in the drawer for almost a decade here. And I approached Jordan about revising my script because I felt it needed to be trimmed down a little bit with some of the useless parts and then maybe built back up with some more important aspects, which he helped out pulling it all together. And he did a wonderful job making what I had what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So that was a couple years ago now. And then we started working on that. It's a slow process, of course, getting the art all done. The entire book, 40 pages, is in the can and ready to go as soon as Kickstarter finishes.
That's great. Now, Bullet's only going to be a one shot. There's not going to be a part two to it or anything, correct?
This is a self-contained one-shot.
Yeah.
Details aren't really out there yet, but there will be additional stories based on Bullet and Dale's lineage. So stay tuned for that.
All
We're
right.
hoping that this Kickstarter is a massive success, so we can do a ton of new books. But there are definitely more on the way.
Well, I gotta say, when I read the story, first of all, I don't think it's a giveaway when I show the Kickstarter that Bullet's a speedster.
Yeah.
Okay. And reading comics, you could see things that are, kind of questions that speedsters have been asked in other comics. Is a speedster, just out of curiosity, some of your favorite hero? Are you a big Flash fan, or?
It's interesting because I'm a Marvel guy. I've
Okay.
never really read Flash. I mean, I picked
Okay.
up a few Ringo books. I
Uh,
love the art there.
mhm.
But I have no idea about any of the Flash stuff. It's like general
Okay.
concepts,
All right.
Silver Age, whatever.
Yeah.
So Jordan is actually a big Flash fan, and I
Okay.
lean on him for all of the speedster tropes, whether to lean into them or avoid them. That's all him.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have a favorite. Quicksilver would be the only speedster that I kind
Speedster
of grew
that
up with.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's the opposite of Dale. He's arrogant, and you can't stand him.
Yeah.
But Dale's so lovable.
Yeah, I'm actually a DC guy myself, but
Okay.
I mean, I love both, but
Yeah.
and I'm a big Golden Age and Silver Age fan. And
Okay.
one of the things that I love looking at your story here specifically is that it's a great, and I think I said this to you backstage, it's a great modern take on a Silver Age style character and story.
Yeah.
And I think it's just gorgeous. So what I want to do is I want to bring up the screen, and let me bring up the window. And I'll do this one here. Okay, so unfortunately, due to Mac issues, for some reason, I have sound issues playing this. The audience won't hear it. I would hear it. But as we can see, you are almost at your goal. You are, I think you said three quarters of the way to your goal.
Yep.
Which is fantastic. And you still have 15 more days to go. So let's just take a look at what's going on here. So I'm just looking here. So these are books you've worked on in the past, or
No, actually, Kira, who's doing a variant cover. Those are a couple examples of their work.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's right.
So this is Bullet. So you want to tell us a little bit about Bullet without giving away the full story?
Yeah, so it's a Silver Age tale, equally balancing superheroics and the relationship that Dale builds with Joanna, who's one of the researchers who's trying to figure out why he has these speed powers. Yeah, just those early days. It's set back in the Silver Age, and like you said, it's got that Silver Age feel. We're really trying to lean into that, but again, the modern take. So knowing what we know now and how to approach a story is a little bit different, but just that Silver Age flavor, the early Marvel Universe kind of thing. This could easily fit in there.
Oh, totally here. I'm sorry. I'm always blown away by the artwork. I just think it's very clean. It's nicely colored.
It's Kath Lobo does the art and colors here.
Which is, let's bring out your team right now. So Jordan, you said, was the writer.
Yeah.
Kath is the artist and colorist here. So she actually inks and everything too, right?
Yeah, I think she works digitally, but she did the line art and colors. So, yeah.
Yeah, I tend to go digital these days for just for time saving, and once you start doing it, that undo button is very hard to escape. It's just one of those things there. And Lucas is your letterer, and you are the publisher. So and they all have some nice credits behind them too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's good. You have a great team.
Rising stars in the industry.
Yeah. So these are the rewards. Let's just take a look at that. So $6 you get the PDF copy, $12 you get the PDF and print. There's a trading card set. Oh, that's awesome.
So the cool thing about the trading cards, I've got sample proofs printed out.
Oh, hold on. Let me give you the full screen for a moment.
Oh, right.
So we can see it. There you go.
So here you go. Nice. Very similar to the old Spider-Man set that Mark Bagley did, and there was a Jim Lee X-Men run that had the last nine cards that formed one single image.
Yeah,
we've got that here, focused on major characters throughout the story, and then it becomes a nice pinup.
Yeah, no, that's really great. That's fantastic. I
like that. That's bringing my roots.
I like that thought process too, of making it a full picture, because not many people do that, these days when they're giving away card sets, Yeah. I think that's fantastic. So 25, you get a limited edition cover that's from the artist you mentioned above, from Kira. So 39. So now we're getting copies, PDFs of all your previous work.
Yep, as well as a bunch of Jordan's work.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So as much as this is a kid-friendly book, Bullet, there's some mature work in our previous catalog. So just fair warning that that includes that.
All right. So Silver Bullet is the PDF, the limited edition, and a metallic, silver metallic variant.
Yeah.
88 is special thanks. Okay, so the PDF, the print, the trading cards, the variant, and so it's basically everything.
Yeah.
And then we move up to 70. You get 11x7 custom commission, so it could be any character, whether it's in the comic or out of the comic.
Yeah, for sure. So these are a bunch of artists that donated their time to do this. So yeah, a lot of great work from these artists, and None of them have been picked up yet from backers, so I'm really hoping they do because it's a good opportunity to have some
Yeah,
amazing artwork produced.
the artwork that I'm seeing as examples are gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's a nice Spidey you did there.
thank you.
No, I like it a lot.
I make a note here that I'm not better than all those other artists. I just put the price really high because you're forcing me to sit in front of a table and if I had hair, pull it out, struggling with art because it's not my forte anymore.
Oh well, I think you did a great job.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, no, I think this is some really nice stuff. I like the love the look. So I don't know if you said, did I get sidetracked looking at art and talking about art? Did you give us the gist of the story, like a little
Yeah, just the
pitch?
basics.
Okay.
Silver Age superhero romance.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is some really fun stuff. Now, how did you come up with the idea for Bullet? And you said that Jordan kind of enhanced your story. So
Yeah.
not without giving anything away, but how did you come up with it, and how did Jordan take what you did and just, you know, punch it
Run
up?
with it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so basically, there was a couple things that were rattling inside my head for a while back then when I first came up with the ideas. You know,
Mhm.
those things where you pick up an idea here and there, and when they hit each other and they combine to make something, that's the concept. Yes, this makes sense, and
Yeah.
just ran with that. So generally, things are the same. It's not like he completely recreated everything. The gist of the story hasn't changed at all from what I put out a decade ago,
Okay.
or attempted to put out. But he took that script, he broke it down, like I said, trimming the fat, and he built up aspects like the focus on Joanna, the love
Mhm.
interest. She didn't play as big a role back when I had my initial idea. And I think he
Mhm.
was right in building that up because it's equally important, especially the way it comes across, to
Yeah.
develop that relationship that is not just Dale doing his thing. But yeah, just fine tuning. I think having that second set of eyes, he could pull
Mhm.
apart what was working and what wasn't working more easily than me looking at my own stuff.
Yeah.
But altogether, yeah, just we work really well together. We played off each other with different ideas and some little concept that one of us would have, and then the other one would build on that, and then the other one would nail it back, like the perfect execution. So it was really good.
No, that's great. I mean, and I got to say about the character Joanna, she is a great character. Like, I love the way, her little story. I don't want to give anything away. That's the hard thing.
Yeah,
It's like it was just for those who are watching, okay? Like Randy mentioned, it is a kid-friendly book. It is a throwback to Silver Age. But what I want to say about this is that it's fun.
yeah,
It's That's what I look for when I look for comics. Now, I've said on this show many times I don't really read mainstream too much anymore. Once in a while, I'll pick up a book to see what's going on with characters that I loved, usually DC more than Marvel, but I will pick up books here and there. But when I'm at the shop, I am checking out the indie rack more than anything. And when I and like I said, since I started this during the pandemic, I've gotten to know a lot of indie creators, and I've seen a lot of Kickstarters, and I've donated to a lot of Kickstarters. And all of them, it's about fun. These books, or this book in particular, are the books that I tend to pledge to, remind me of the books I grew up on.
exactly.
Remind me of the fun that I had. Now I didn't collect until like regularly till 1989, but I read comics here and there, and I always kind of fell in love more with the Silver Age stuff. When I started collecting and like buying back issues, I was always
Yeah,
going Silver Age, sometimes Golden Age, and those are where my preferences are. So to me, those books were just tons of fun.
yeah,
This, like I said, this really reminds me. This is a book that if I saw it on the shelf in a comic shop, I would be picking up.
nice.
And that's what I want the people out there to know. This is a book, and guys, I'm 45 years old. You know, I'll read anything put in front of me, but there are certain things I'm drawn to, and this is the type of stuff I'm drawn to. I want to see this type of more of this coming out.
Yeah.
I want to see the fun stuff. The it has energy not just in the artwork but in the story.
Yeah.
The story's always is going to be more important than the art to me, but you have a great mixture. You have a great team behind you that really helped, um, put something together that I think, as long as you know how to read, you're going to enjoy it. You
Yeah.
know, and I wanna thank you for that, because it's hard to do. It really is. So you did a great job here.
I appreciate
Um,
that.
now when I look at this art, I look at the lettering. Um, oh, and this is actually something okay. I'll spoil one thing. It's not giving away the story. It's about the lettering.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved so much with the lettering was when Bullet is running.
Yeah.
His
Okay.
words his words kind of almost, it's not blurry, but it kind of has speed to them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that was just genius. That
So
that Yeah, go ahead.
Lucas is a genius. I can't say enough about him. He's amazing, and he's going to be huge because he's
Mhm.
at that level that he should be like one of the top few letterers in the industry.
Yeah.
That specific thing, I had mixed feelings about. And I
Mhm.
told him, maybe some people would have trouble because it's a little bit obscured. Like maybe you'd have trouble reading it. No, not that badly. But just it's different. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. And he said, I think we should do it. And I said to him, you know what? Well, let's do it because I trust you. You're a genius. You're the man as far as lettering
Mhm.
goes. And then when it all came together, I think he made the right decision, and
Yeah.
I made the right decision following his instincts. But yeah, it was wonderful the way it turned out.
It's just every, like I said, every little piece works. And I've never seen that before in any type of speedster comic.
Okay.
So I thought that was a nice little clever twist, and
Yeah.
or just piece of art on there, man. So wow. I just keep looking at the art and kind of falling in love with it here over and over again.
Yeah.
So since they're on the screen here, just tell us about these three characters and kind of how they relate to the story. Oh, hold on, we got a nice quote here about you here. Oops, wrong one. Got pushed over. So read other stories by Randy Stone. Awesome
Oh,
work.
thank you.
Okay, so GZ Lu Zhang, if that's how you say it. Thanks for the comment. Can you tell us about these three characters and kind of who they are in the comic?
Yeah, so the older guy on the right, he's Professor Rosen. He teaches at the university or college, I suppose, that Dale attends. He's running an experiment, doing research on some new drugs, and his assistants there are Joanna and Michael. So as they're doing this experiment, Dale is one of the subjects, just kind of an extra credit thing he got as a
Yeah.
student there. Um, I think in the preview page we've got all that there. Basically, and this is one of the initial ideas that I had that I was just looking for a story to put it in,
Mhm.
is that Michael comes crashing in and says, Professor, we finally have really big results. The drug's working. And the professor asks which one. Okay, B720. And Professor Rosen says, that's the control group. There's no way this drug should be having any effect on the student who's in the control group. And that's where things jump from there. So why does he have these powers if he's just a regular guy who's taken, saline shots or sugar pills, and
Yeah.
suddenly develops this super speed? So there's something that is unique about Dale.
Mhm.
We don't get too much into the reasoning behind it. It's still a mystery as these scientists are trying to figure that out in the opening.
Mhm.
But he ends up using his powers for good, as any Silver Age protagonist would do.
Exactly. Wow. So yeah, no, it's There's so much I want to say about this and talk to you, and I got to do it backstage because I can't give anything away. Sometimes that's the hardest part of my job here is when I'm talking to people is you did such a great job. Like even here, just in this little, um, you know, a panel here where the professor looks a little shocked and he's throwing his pen in the air. It's a
Yeah,
nice little detail. Also, I love that he says zounds. That's
yeah,
just one of those things
old
you don't
school.
hear anymore. So it really throws you
Yeah,
into the time period. It's really the wording and the style of clothing and hairstyles and all. It really throws you back to the era. So
yeah,
I think it's fantastic. I even love how this old school computer looks, and nice little details on that.
yeah.
Wow, just so good.
Yeah, getting back to the fun aspect of it, that's something I was definitely trying to do. I've got kids, like I said, they're 30 years behind me, so I've introduced them to my Marvel Universe trading cards. Like, this is what
Yeah,
got me in, and here's a book that I want them to be reading. Something that you and I,
mhm.
40, 45, we
Yeah.
can get a kick out of it and have fun with the story, but at the same time, a child can also appreciate. And, I would love nothing more than having kids running around saying, I'm Bullet, chasing around the playground or something. That's my dream.
And I could see that. I mean, if you like you said, I think you did say you might have some other plans for future stories.
Yeah,
Um, I can see this being a much more kid friendly, like Invincible type
yeah,
of where more stuff is coming out, more characters are being introduced. Nothing as violent as
exactly.
as but like a kid friendly version. I think
My
it's
pitch was basically I want this to be what Invincible was the first few issues before it became all the blood and gore.
yeah
This is the feelings I had reading, what Robert and Corey started out with.
yeah.
This is exactly what I wanted to do.
I love that I'm picking up on all this
Yeah,
because it's just it shows. And I don't know if it's just our age that we have so much in common, kind of like what we've read and what we know about the industry, or is it did you just really hit it so well that anybody who is a comic fan knows this is what you're doing and could see the genius behind it, like no, like seriously, like I mean, let's be honest, Invincible was an amazing story.
yeah,
Yeah, it was dark and violent, but it was in a way almost a legacy story in the beginning. Him,
yeah,
getting his powers, and then other superheroes and whatever's going on. You're basically, if you're going to continue this, you're continuing a legacy story,
yeah,
which I think is fantastic. I love all that type of stuff. It also kind of has a little bit of feel. I'm blanking on the comics now, but a few years back, I don't know what company had it. Maybe DC. They did a revamp of the Archie heroes, the Red Circle characters. I don't know if
okay,
Archie put it out or some, but they were kind of like their kids and the kids of the heroes and stuff. It kind of gives me that feel too.
right, okay.
It's a really nice stuff. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just get shocked looking at certain pieces. That's me geeking out, you know. So
Well, that was me for the whole time when
yeah,
Kath would submit pages or, send them in as they were coming through. Like, oh, wow, every time a new email came in, I'm like, yes, because I get
yeah.
to experience that as well.
It's funny. And I've said this on the show before, talking to other people. I'm getting ready to launch a web comic very soon,
Okay,
probably the end of this month. It's a sci-fi comic called Dax Photon, and it has a little bit of. It's kind of like a more action comedy type of thing. Pays tribute to all like sci-fi stuff I grew up on that I love. Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Star Wars,
yeah,
all that type of stuff is in there. And I didn't want to write it. I just wanted to draw the story. So I hired a writer,
okay,
and he's a friend of mine, and he kind of got everything when I talked to him. And how you're saying when you were geeking out over the artwork coming, I felt that way about the script. He got my
right,
character so good that every time he sent pages over to me and I'd read it, like there was because I plotted out the story for. I said this has to happen, this has to happen. I don't care how it happens, just write it, and as long as it works, it works.
Yeah.
And there was one scene that was an emotional scene I knew I plotted out. When he wrote it, I literally cried reading it.
Right.
Like I knew it was going to be in there. I knew the scene was coming.
Yeah.
But he wrote it so that I like just texted him like, dude, you're just so awesome. You got it.
Yeah.
You know, and me and him working together, I'm like, this is the perfect team. This is what I needed here. And I geeked out every single time he sent me something.
It's nice to be on the same page with somebody like that.
Yeah.
You don't even, almost like a relationship where you're finishing each other's sentences or something, like literally finishing each other's sentences, writing the script. But
exactly.
What was that something I thought of? I've had that a few times with Jordan, that I thought that's something I had in mind, but I hadn't actually said it to him. Yet he put it in there. Like, wow, okay, we're really on the same page here.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I love when that, like you said, I love when that happens. It's just amazing. You're with the right people, and it's going to be good because, and being the artist in my head, I don't want to mess up what he did. I feel a little, even now, even though it's my story, I designed everything. There are days I'm a little nervous when I'm drawing a page because I'm like, I just want to do justice to the words he put on that page, and it's like, now it's up to me because at the end of the day, it's my art that's going to make or break the comic now.
Yeah.
And he did such a good job. It's like, damn, I don't want to screw this up. Yeah, I got it. So yeah, no, that's fantastic here. So with Bullet, it's did I read it's a 40-page story?
Yep.
Okay. And it's going to be collected into one into a book.
Yeah.
Are there any extras in the book, or is it just the 40-page story?
Yeah, I don't think there'll be much in the matter, like back matter.
Okay.
There'll be a thank you section, which is looking to be pretty long so far, and hopefully a lot longer with all the people that are supporting the book.
Well, you got 89 backers already. That's fantastic.
Exactly. I'm really happy with the support we've got so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's pretty much just a story, and all 40 pages are completely done, ready to go.
Cool.
Just a matter of funding this thing and putting it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And so you got 15 days to go. So I want to just make a little shout out to everybody watching. Kickstarters go up for about 30 days. You're more than halfway there.
Yeah.
And you still have 15 days to go.
Yeah.
You guys out there, please make sure you donate. I know there's tons of Kickstarters out there to choose from. And most of my guests I bring on have Kickstarters, and I support where I can. But yeah, this is one everyone needs to see. Everyone needs to be out in there. Number one, if you like, let's number one, I said if you like fun comics, this is it. If you like speedsters as your hero, this is it. It's a great, if you want to call it, origin story. There is some romance in there, but it's not to the point where it's overly romanced. It's just enough to make you care about the relationships of the characters. So, excuse me. So not only do you have a great story, not only do you have great art, fantastic lettering. You got a fun book here. You got superhero mixed with subromance. But let me tell you, the villains, the bad guys that he goes up against, there are some that kind of have a bit of that cheesy, 60s feel to it.
Exactly.
And then others that they're just cool looking. I mean, you held up the card pack before, so I don't want to give anything away. But the villains on there, they were just so great. There was one. Do you mind if I spoil one of the villains? Not to tell their story, but just one of my favorites. He was the Gecko.
Yeah, leopard gecko.
Okay, the Gecko is just fantastic in design, in looks, how he deals with him. It's just
it played out really well.
Yeah, I was so happy when I saw that. I'm like, this is just silly and great. It almost reminded me of an old like Fawcett Captain Marvel villain,
Right.
and I was like, this is cool. This is really cool. So yeah, you guys, I'm not gonna spoil the story how anything goes. That's not what I'll do. But yeah, pick this up, donate to this, and I'm gonna say it again at the end of the show. But donate. This is something that is really really great. Um,
I'm
I
excited to
wish,
get it in people's hands. That's really the
yeah,
main thing. Like, I just want people to experience this story
yeah,
and yeah, just get it out there.
and I think. Number one, I think you're gonna make your deadline without your goal without an issue.
Yeah.
Um, and as a creator, I feel the same way. It's about getting the people to read, to enjoy, to what's out there. But yeah, man, I mean, you did such a great job. I like I said, I wish this was just out by a publisher and in stores already,
Yeah.
so people could see, just go to their local comic shop, pick it up, and man, it's just I think everyone's going to love it. It's one of those books that has something for everybody,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, I think we struck that balance. Like I was saying,
Yeah.
it could be, a middle-aged man or a teenage girl that they all find
Yeah.
something that they love about this story.
Yeah, and you got some nice feedback here. So from Michael Todd, it says Bullet is, what's that say, unabashedly positive and uplifting. It brightens my day every time I come back to it. Who's this? Mark Ollivant says gold standard storytelling, everything you could want from a comic. And John Jack says Bullet is a fast-paced piece of Silver Age greatness you don't want to miss. They've said it's so much better than me already. But seriously, it's everything that I feel. So, you guys, seriously, check this out. Wow. I don't know what else to say right now. It's one of those things I'm just in such awe about. And like, I want the physical copy in my hand.
Right.
I have no
Me
issue.
too. I'm
Yeah,
dying for that.
like I have no issue reading digital. I'm not one of those people that has. Growing up, I always had the print book in my hand. I love it. I'll always love print. It'll always be my preference to read, but I'm not anti-digital.
Yeah.
But this is one of those books that, yes, I just want to hold and like kind of flip through the pages and just kind of, put it up close to my face so I can like really see the art and the little details in the background. And
Yeah.
I love that. This is one of those books that if I was a kid and picked it up, I would be drawing out of it and learning how to draw characters from it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just got that feel that it's just everything in it makes you want to. It's like, like you said, you're a Marvel guy, so it's like picking up an old Spider-Man book in a way. And I used to draw out of the Spider-Man books, and
Yeah.
any book I had, that's how I learned to draw a lot in the beginning. And this book has that same feeling to me, that if I was a little kid, I'd be like laying on the floor with my drawing pad and
Yeah.
going through it and copying the pictures. So good, man. I've said so much about this, mostly the same stuff over and over again in different ways, but this is one of those books that, like I said, it's just fantastic. So, is there? I want to ask: is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to talk about with the book, or other projects, or anything?
Not really. I mean, I've got a couple other things in the works. I think we mentioned before the stream here that
Mm-hmm.
there will be more Bullet coming.
Yes.
We'll explore Dale's lineage.
Yes.
So we want this to be hugely successful, so we can do that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's more coming for sure. I just want more and more and more. Other projects, nothing's announced. A couple things in the works, but yeah, basically all my attention's on Bullet right now and trying to make this as big as possible.
That's great. I think you're gonna have a hit here. You have a definite hit here. It's yeah, people just need need Bullet. There's even a nice little reference to a public domain character in here, that kind of makes it a joke, and I like that little because I'm a public domain fan, so it just kind of gave me a chuckle when I read it. Um, Yeah, no, I mean, listen, everything. I wish I could show the comic. That's what I really want to say is I just want to show this to everybody and be like, look at how great this is. There are panels I want to point out. Things with villains, the artwork, the way, just everything about it is like, I wish I could show this right now online to everybody.
There's
It's
a few
just
more preview pages actually below what's posted on Kickstarter. There's a link there right at the bottom.
Go to the bottom.
Sorry, just under the preview pages.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry.
there you go. There should be a
Oh,
link
right
right
here.
there. Yeah. So if you click on that, you got to sign up. We'll email it to you.
Yeah.
But people can see additional pages there as well. So if you're really hankering for a few extra ones,
I think you
then
got. Let me tell you guys, it's not the full book, obviously, but it said what first 17 pages or something like that.
yeah,
You guys need it. You guys need this. Looking at this, you're gonna be like, why don't I have the book in my hand right now? So definitely check it out. Was that right here, Kickstarter? Yeah. So definitely check that out. Let me see if there's anything I missed scrolling through your Kickstarter here. So we went through that. You got this stuff here. Closes September 16th. Survey, okay. And that's it. Okay. I'm sorry, one sound very familiar to me.
What's that?
The Killer Bed at the bottom here. Killer Bed
yeah.
sounded familiar to me.
I think that's just wrapping up too.
Yeah, I think Anthony, who contacted me for you, is working with them as well.
That's right.
So, and due to my schedule, I couldn't have them on either. But that sounds like a very interesting comic too, you guys. So just check it out as well. But before you donate to the other people, donate to this one. Make sure this one comes first, man. Listen, I haven't read the other comic. This one I want to see. So we got another comment here. The Sensational Swan by Randy Stone is so good. Can't wait to read Bullet. All right. Yeah, no, you're going to love Bullet. That's all I'm going to say. I haven't read The Sensational Swan. I'm going to have to find a copy of that myself.
I'll hook you up after. Don't
worry. I appreciate it, dude. This, what I saw there, The Sensational Swan, I'm just going to be probably amazed at as well. That's just how I feel. You have a good sense, even if you had another writer write this, you have a good sense of story, character, understanding what makes a good comic.
Yeah.
And what's nice is the indie comic world has really been stepping up their game, especially since the pandemic happened. Before that, I'd go to Comic-Cons and see a lot of indie comics, and whether they were good or bad, there were a lot of bad ones. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna knock anybody, because anybody who had the time to put together a book, is they deserve the credit. They worked hard. They put something out. But just I didn't feel the stories of the books I were buying were as good. But it seems like maybe right around before the pandemic started, or right when everyone's like, I can sit down and focus now and really start turning out some good stuff.
Yeah.
And I've seen the level, like go from here to here in a lot of indie books. And I think it's fantastic. I love that we're getting that. You're one of those that are up here, and man, people just need to read your stuff. That's all. I can't say any more about it. I don't know what other questions to ask, because number one, it'll spoil the story. number two, it's I don't want to. I'm just excited. I'll read stuff and I'm like, oh, that's good. This got me excited.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm happy about. That's what I'm glad to see in comics.
Yeah, if I can inspire some fans or future artists, writers, or whatever, that seems pretty cool to me.
Oh, I totally agree. Well, you know what? I'll tell you, this is one of those. and don't take this the wrong way because this isn't an insult to you, but I enjoyed the book so much I didn't want to do the interview tonight. I wanted to go and do my own artwork.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to. I'd be like, I'm just going to go in the studio and work tonight.
Yeah.
And that was what I got from reading your book. Like this was fun. I'm now inspired to push out my work even more.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like I was excited to talk to you. I just want you to know that. But it was like, this is so fun. This is like like I said, it's what got me into comics.
Yeah.
Like it really felt that way that, I want to be that big kid laying on the floor drawing again, and that was the feel. So, I mean, seriously, dude, just such a good job. I don't know what else to say on it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up in a moment because honestly, I'm just going to be brown nosing you the rest of the show. I mean, seriously, dude, I am so happy and like just overjoyed with the comic. And I hope I'm not overselling it because I don't want people to be disappointed. But if you're like a comic fan, this is a great book just to get people into comics too.
Right.
If they've never read a comic, it kind of has a bit of everything. There's the origin story. There's a little romance going on. There's super villains. It's kind of this whole thing done in a nice way that it's definitely PG, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go G. I wouldn't even go to PG-13. I think it's like a good PG rating if you had to give it a rating. It's just, I want to see this in the hands of everybody. I really do.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to being at a con, and this is actually something that Kirkman did years and years ago. Any kid under 13, he would call them over and just give them a comic. You don't have to buy it. Here's a comic. And can you imagine how many fans actually started off that way, having a Kirkman Invincible book given to them for free?
Yeah.
And then that's set them on the path to read whatever else, the rest of Invincible, but everything else too.
And that's a great strategy.
Yeah. It's a drug dealer strategy, actually.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
The first one's free.
Actually,
but I'd love to do that.
Yeah, the comic shop I go to over by me here, they actually say, they tell people this is the best drug you can get, or they say it's better than drugs. I forget the exact term, but it's like once you fall in love with a comic, it's you're back for more.
Yeah.
You constantly come back, and I look for your company. Do you have a website for it?
I do. It's kind of in the works. altruistcomics.com. It's very simple right now. I've just used it to upload files, basically. But eventually, I'd like to have a web store, a proper web store there.
So
right now, I use Gumroad. So you can actually, I didn't tell you that earlier, I linked to Gumroad, but gumroad.com/altruistcomics, I believe it is.
Okay.
To get some of the previous work digitally. I got to work out shipping in order to do that. So.
All right, let me post the website. I'm just going to type it into the comments so everyone can. So you said gumroad.com/ALT. Is it? I'm such a bad speller here.
ALTRUIST.
I forgot the R. RUISTCOMICS. So that's in the comments now. So anyone can go to that link. And I love Gumroad. I've been on it a bunch of times. I've bought stuff off Gumroad. I have friends who publish through Gumroad.
Yeah.
And that's all digital, though. You don't do the printed copies.
So far, I mean, I probably will update that at some point with physical books. It's just shipping's an issue. Trying to figure out what does it cost to ship to New Zealand or Germany or whatever else. So
have you tried? Well, when you're about your other books, have you tried anything like Indie Planet or other print-on-demand websites that they print and ship?
I haven't. I'm aware of them. Kablam set that up, right?
Yeah, so. Kablam. That's like I think you have to order a book through Kablam first.
Yeah.
And then you can go on their Indie Planet. So if you buy 1 or 2 copies for yourself and then put it up.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I'll look into that a little bit more. Shipping definitely is the hardest part about putting together a Kickstarter. Because you have to list all that ahead of time and, paying for shipping. Oh, yeah, it's only this. And then it turns out to be something a lot more. kind of a pain.
Yeah, I've done a couple of overseas shipping,
Yeah,
and that it does get expensive, but it's worth it if you really want the books, you know.
yeah,
So, and this is a book I think should be all over the world, so everybody should be donating. Don't worry about the shipping costs.
yeah,
Uh, but so if I wanted to find some of your old stuff and read it, I can go on Gumroad and look up
yep,
the comment. Awesome, awesome. That's a good thing to know. I always want people to know how to get more from the people on the show here.
yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up unless there's something we haven't discussed that you wanted to, or
No, I think that's everything.
all right. So let me just say this. I'm going to drop you backstage for a minute, but number one, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a creator, creating comics, giving people other things out there to read and to inspire and to explore imaginations with. I think it's one of the greatest abilities of anybody to have, and I'm just glad you're one of those people. So thank you.
I'm happy to do it. Happy to be here. Thanks.
You're very welcome. And I want to just one more time, I'm not kissing butt here, but dude, you guys, this is it's a fun story. Get out onto Kickstarter, donate, get your copy, digital, physical, whatever it is. Physical might be better in my opinion because I love to hold the books, but just donate. Let's get them to hit that $2,157. You're at 1641. You could totally do this in 15 days. And I think everybody out there watching, believe me, this is a book worth having. All right. So, anyway, I'm going to drop you backstage, just do a little closing, and can you hang out for a few?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thanks, man. See you. All right, guys. So, yeah, man, I had a lot of fun. I know tonight really sounded like me kissing butt, but dude, this is so good. You guys need to really read this. You know, I geek out over art and stuff all the time, but like I'm really geeking out over this book. It's I don't know how to describe it, but fun. You're gonna love it. You're really gonna love it. So make sure you donate to it. I have a special show coming on tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern, like usual. Well, not usual. The time's usual, but it's a special show tomorrow. I'm gonna have Chris Watts and Jay Piscopo on from Public Domain Comics, and they're going to be doing some announcements. I think of some prizes maybe people have won from their Kickstarter. And they're great guys. I had them on in the past, and you guys know them. Jay's a fantastic artist, you know. So just tune in tomorrow, 8:30. We're gonna have a blast with that. And next week I'll have a new guest Tuesday, just regular Tuesday night. And look for the ads this weekend. You're gonna see be another great show. All right, guys. You have a great night. I'll see you later. Bye.